Today is the beginning of a new series for Sundays. It starts with an H. Can anyone guess what it is? Honesty. Humble. Hermeneutics. Humility. Hope. What is it? Holy. Harmony. Come on, guys. It starts with an H and it ends with an R. Got him. The theme for this month is honor. Woo! Everybody get up for honor. Woo! All right. So the theme is honor, and today we're focusing on honoring each other. Okay? How do we honor each other? Can someone give me an example of what it looks like to honor maybe your sibling, your mother, the speaker, by putting your phone away? Can someone give me an example? Anyone? Only one person at a time, please. Somebody, like maybe a next gen. If there's a next gen in the room. Nick. Show respect to someone. Good. Good. What is it? So there's this cool thing called paying attention. Okay? So I'm going to say it one more time. You ready? What are ways that you can honor someone? Yes. Loyalty? Good. Did you have something, Levi? No? All right, anyone else? Someone from this side? Anyone? None of you guys know how to honor people? Come on, guys. Chase, what about you, my friend? How could you honor someone? What could that look like for you? So do something to honor someone else. Good. Gabby? Being kind. Good. Okay. We have a lively group today. Yes? What was it? Commitment. Listening. Good. All right. Good job, guys. Thank you. All right. So the actual definition of honor is high respect or great esteem, to basically respect someone a lot. More importantly, let's look at how the Bible defines honor. Can someone tell me what the New Testament, what language was originally written in? That's not a leader. No, that's Old Testament. James? That's 2 books in the Old Testament. The New. Greek. Good job. Woo! All right, so now you guys learned something. The New Testament was written in Greek. There you go. So we're going to look at the Greek word for honor, okay? The Greek word for honor is time, spelled like time. It's like time, but it's pronounced time, okay? Now, with this word, it not only means honor, but it also has another definition, another way it's used, and that is, where'd it go? It's a price or a valuing, okay? So, for example, if you could put up Matthew 27, verse 6. All right, someone want to read that? Go ahead, Brian. Okay, can someone guess which word is time, the one I just talked about? Which word in there? Nope. What is it? Price. Very good. So the Greek word of honor is used right here for the word price, okay? The reason why, for some background of that verse, basically the pieces of silver it's talking about is the money that Judas used to buy the land where he hung himself. So what they're saying is that those pieces of silver have a greater value because he bought it to kill himself, basically. So yes, price, the Greek word, is the same as honor, okay? Now, why is this important? It's because it draws a connection. It draws a connection between honor and value, okay? So the level of honor that we show to someone is a direct reflection of how much we value them. Does that make sense? So however much we honor them, that shows how much we value them, okay? So if we dishonor someone, what does that mean? That we don't value them. Very good. So, how many of you guys ever struggle to be patient with someone? Like maybe a sibling, right? So, if we could honor our sibling, recognize the value of our sibling, it'll be a lot easier to be patient with them. Does that make sense? How many of you guys struggle with like maybe being a little judgmental, right? Like, so you see someone walking down the street and you're like, ugh, you know what I mean? Right? So something that will help with that is if you honor the person and recognize their value, even though to you, for certain reasons, you may value them less, but if we could value them the way that Christ values them, then we wouldn't be so judgmental. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, there's a progression. Sir, I'm going to have to move you if you keep it up. All right? Cool. All right. Now, there's a progression of what we call revelation. Does anyone know what revelation means? Not like the book of the Bible, but like what it means. James? Breakthrough, right. So when it clicks for us, right? So we hear something and it's like it's been revealed like in a new way in our spirit, in our soul. Does that make sense? So there's a progression of revelation that needs to happen, meaning there's a sequence of events, right? So you can't have this revelation, number 3, if you haven't had number 1 and 2. You guys tracking a little bit? Okay. So the reason why I'm saying this is because if you don't recognize that God honors you, it'll be very difficult for you to honor other people. Does that make sense? Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to walk us through a story, okay? I'm going to walk us through a story. But before I do that, I want to emphasize one thing really quick. Does anyone know what the incarnation is? What is that? Incarnation, big boy word. Yes, James? No, but I see what you're saying. The Jesus coming back? Okay, recreation. You're close, kind of. Nobody. Have you ever heard the word incarnation? Okay, do you remember like how it was used? Okay. Brian, do you know?
I remember it was used like we're making like a reincarnation or something like that.
Okay. That's reincarnation. But what's just incarnation, Sophia? That's exactly it. Did everyone hear what she said? Here, let me give her the mic so she can say it nice and loud.
Okay. Basically how God took the form of Christ, so Jesus, that's incarnation.
Yes. That is exactly what the incarnation is. Let's go. That's the next gen, by the way. That's the next gen right now. All right. So the incarnation is a very core belief that we have as Christians. Okay? Anybody heard of the Trinity before? Good, thank God. All right, everyone knows what the Trinity is. 3 persons in one being, right? Me, I'm one being, one body. I got, an arm, 2 legs, blah, blah, blah. That is being, okay? I also have a person, right? So RJ, well, my feelings, if you hit me, it'll hurt. You get what I'm saying? Now my phone has being, right? It's made up of this camera right here, a screen, and some electricity stuff, okay? But it doesn't have person, right? If I hit my phone on this thing, it's not going to say ow. It doesn't care because it doesn't have person. You guys get the difference? Okay, so we believe that we're made in the image of God, right? Right? Okay, good. There we go. We believe we're made in the image of God, so there is a likeness in how we exist to how God exists. But obviously, God is infinite. He's much greater than we are. So the way that we exist as one being, one flesh, and one person, God exists as one being, but three persons. Now, I know that's tricky to wrap our mind around, but that is what we believe, okay? And we believe that the second person of the Trinity, guess? Jesus, yes, the Son, took on flesh in a point of time, okay? So before Jesus was on earth, where was he? In heaven. Good, right. Because a lot of people think that we worship a man. No, we worship a God that became man, okay? There's a difference. It's important, okay? So we believe that Jesus is not just this really cool guy that did miracles and that died for us. We believe that it is God in the flesh that went through all the things that he went through in his life for us, okay? So we're going to do something here. Or actually, let me show you in the Bible. John 1:1. Okay? Someone want to read that? Go ahead, Chris. Sorry. You'll get the next. You'll get the next.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
All right, so this Word, okay? The Word was with God, and the Word was God. Who's the Word? The Word is God. Very good. All right, you can go to verse 14. Janai, you want to read that?
And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth.
All right, so what is it saying about the Word? Say it louder. All right, so the Word became flesh. So, okay, this incarnation thing isn't just a philosophical thing. It's in the Bible, okay? So we see that the Word was God, and the word became flesh, okay? So now this is what I'm going to do, okay? It's going to be a little long, but we're going to do an exercise. Can you dim the lights a little bit? I want every single person, except Anna because she's security, but every person, every student, that's good. Every student, every leader, I want you to close your eyes. Not now, when I tell you to. I want you to close your eyes, and I'm going to read you a story, okay? This is a nurse's retelling of Jesus and his crucifixion. Aaron, can I have you come sit over here, bro? Just for this exercise. I need you to sit over here. I love you, bro. I love you, but I need you to sit over here. Because we really got to lock in for this exercise, all right? We got to lock in, all right? I love you, man. I love you. I love that you want us to talk. And we'll talk after. We got small groups right after, all right? All right. So, what was I saying? Yes, I want you to close your eyes when I say, and everything that I'm saying, I want you to imagine that you're watching it happen, okay? You're watching it happen, and remember the incarnation. Remember this person that's enduring all of this is the God of the universe, okay? He created all of this. He has supremacy and authority over everything that he's experiencing. And at any moment, he could say, no, this is too much. All right, that hurt a little bit too much. I'm good, okay? But in his mind, he's thinking of you, okay? So close your eyes, and I'm going to read this and really try to picture it, okay? Jesus' crucifixion involves so much more than just nailing him to the cross. Before any of that had occurred, he was beaten within an inch of his life with a 9-tailed whip that had metal tips on the end of every strap. He was strapped to a block while soldiers beat the shard tips on the whip into his back, his butt, and his legs. The metal tips would tear into his flesh and then rip both his skin and his muscles away as the soldiers pulled the whip back just to thrash it into his skin again. The initial beating alone was enough to cause hypovolemic shock. Hypovolemic shock occurs when there is a loss of approximately 20% or more of the body's blood supply. This blood depletes oxygen to the body because the heart is prevented from pumping more blood, which contains the oxygen needed. Hypovolemic shock causes nausea, dizziness, profuse sweating, confusion, and loss of consciousness. Yet, Jesus allowed them to continue. After being flogged with the nine-tailed whip, a crown of thorns was forced onto his head, causing huge lacerations. The blood from these wounds would be flowing into his eyes, causing burning and making it difficult to see. The soldiers covered him with a purple robe and mocked him by saying, "Hail to the King of Jews." They hit Jesus on the head with a reed, spit on him, and humiliated him beyond belief. But still, Jesus said nothing. As if that wasn't enough, Jesus was forced to carry a wooden beam to the place of his crucifixion. The beam would have been extremely heavy, and after the beating, Jesus would have been immensely weak. He was so weak that he needed assistance carrying it. But not only that, however, this wood was really rough and jagged and very splintered. As Jesus walked, this ragged plank moved up and down his back, shoving huge splinters into his open flesh. Even after being nailed onto the cross, the splinters would continue to exacerbate the wounds on his back. Every time Jesus would shift from his weight from his feet to his arms and back to his feet, his back would rub against the splintered wood, causing a constant rubbing into the open wounds. Some of the wooden shreds remained lodged in the muscles and exposed nerve endings. It would even further tear his wounds open. Let's talk about the nails. The nails were driven into Jesus' wrists and pierced the main nerve running through the arm. When Jesus would push up to breathe, his wrist rotated against the nail, which would irritate the nerves and cause intense pain in his arms. The open nerves were exposed to the thick metal, which produced a constant, reoccurring, excruciating pain that had to be endured every time Jesus pulled up to breathe. The vertical beam that would hold the horizontal beam was already standing in the ground. Jesus was nailed to the horizontal beam while it was still flat on the ground. With his wrist nails into the horizontal beam, the beam was lifted and then hammered into the vertical beam. When this happened, Jesus' feet were not yet nailed into the vertical beam. At this point, Jesus' shoulders would have dislocated because he had no leverage to push up his body. The weight of his hanging body, once it was raised, would have pulled his shoulders out of socket. The result of this was that his arms would extend at least 6 inches beyond their normal span of reach. With his shoulders dislocated, his body hung in a slump position, which forced his chest cavity to protrude. An extended chest cavity allows Jesus to inhale, but exhaling was nearly impossible. The inability to exhale caused an increased carbon dioxide throughout the body. Increased carbon dioxide puts the body into acidosis, which leads to the failure of the central nervous system. Since the body doesn't get enough oxygen while hanging on the cross, the natural response is hyperventilation. Oxygen depravity makes the heart pump harder, which leads to cardiac stress. Cardiac stress can cause the heart to rupture inside the chest cavity. When Jesus hung on the cross, his knees were bent at a 45-degree angle, which meant that he had to sustain the weight of his body with his thigh muscles. It is painful to even bend your knees and support one's weight with the thighs alone for even 5 minutes. Doing this for hours is unimaginable. The natural way our vital organs receive oxygen is through the flow of blood. Proper movement of the arms and legs and their interaction with gravity is what enables this process. The cross prevented Jesus from natural movement. The stationary arms and legs, combined with gravity's work of pulling the blood downward, prevents the vital organs from receiving the proper flow of oxygen. The organ responds to this unnatural position by sending warning signals to the brain that something is very wrong. The warning signals are sent through the nerves that lead to the pain centers of the brain. So with all the other excruciating tortures that his body endured in the cross, the oxygen-deprived organs are sending unimaginable pain signals to the brain. These things did not happen in sequence, with one thing occurring and then the next, giving Jesus time to prepare. Every single bodily response to the crucifixion happened at the same time. The combined effect of all these things happening to the body at once is beyond comprehension. The pain and suffering are indescribable with words. Okay, you guys can open your eyes. So, remember, this is the God of the universe that we're talking about. the one that created everything, the one that is sovereign over everything. And he is enduring all of this pain, right? Pain that we will never see. He's dying a criminal's death. You get what I'm saying? The crucifixion wasn't just, oh, you did something wrong, go to the cross. The crucifixion was for the worst of the worst people. And our God endured all of that on the cross for us. And at any point, he could have been like, all right, no, this is too much. But he was thinking of eternity with you. You guys get what I'm saying? Like this is real life. This isn't just a fairy tale. This really happened. And so I hope that understanding this helps you recognize how much God honors you, how much God values you, how much you are worth to God, that he would endure everything that you just imagined in your mind. And keep in mind, the very people that were doing this to him, he was doing it for them too, right? It's not like he died for the people that are going to treat him nice and his disciples. No, he died for the very person that was nailing his wrist into the cross. He died he died for the very person that was whipping him and ripping the flesh off of his back. And so if he can die for them, and he loves them, he loves us just as much. And so if Christ can endure all that, and in the midst of it say, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. If he can do that, then we can learn to honor other people. We can learn to see that, man, Christ endured all that, not just for me, but for this person that I can't forgive either. Right? For this person that did me wrong. For this person that hurt me. Christ did all of that for that person too. When we walk in life, throughout life, with this in the forefront of our minds, it makes living for Christ, it makes loving people, honoring people, respecting people so much easier. You guys get what I'm saying? And especially in a time where our value is often derived from what other people say. Right? Whether how much attention you get from your Instagram posts, or how many DMs you have, how many people you have compliment you, how many friends you have, right? These are things that make us feel like our value increases and decreases. Right? Anybody else feel like that? Right? I know for me, when I was in high school, my freshman year, I probably had 3 friends. Right? And then my junior year, I started playing football. By my senior year, all of a sudden, wait a minute, I have a lot of friends now. Wait, people know my name now? You get what I'm saying? And our flesh is like, wait, I'm more valuable now. But the reality is that Jesus died for the freshman me and for the senior me. It didn't change. The way that God viewed me didn't change based on how people treated me, based on how much attention I got. You get what I'm saying? So my heart and my hope for you guys is for you guys to first recognize how much God honors you, how much you are worth to him, that he would leave the comfort of heaven, right? Strip himself from certain divine privileges, be limited to a human body, and endure all that we just talked about with the sole purpose of bringing you back to him. Okay? So I'm sorry that was kind of like, ooh. But it's deep and it's real, and we have to get a hold of it, right? Grab a hold of what Jesus did for you and walk in that. And I promise, loving people, loving your neighbor, forgiving people, all of that will be so much easier.